welcome to another edition of the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860. I'm Barry Reisman, inviting you to stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement, featuring professional home inspector Jack Milne. And Jack, I understand you're going to go into the email box today, huh?
Yes, sir, Barry.
Okay.
Welcome aboard. Where every house has a story, but this episode again, like Barry mentioned, I'd like to delve into the email box because I don't have a chance all the time to get back to folks via email. So I try to get back to them on the air. So this week's topic is really, again, your turn. It's Email Box Revisited Series 2. So before I kick in, I do want to thank my sponsors, Burrow Exterminating. They're out of Glen Olden, Pennsylvania at 610-586-5640. Pest Blaster, although they're out of Hamilton, New Jersey, they do serve both Pennsylvania and New Jersey, 215-295-5555. Bucksmont Inspections, again, on-site sewage evaluations out of the upper portions of Bucks County and Sellersville, at 215-669-4213. BrainFlushGear.com. They are in the nether regions of the Internet. And again, contact at BrainFlushGear.com is their email. Of course, Tri-County Inspection Company. We're actually based in Yardley, Pennsylvania, but we do serve 13 counties, from Hunterdon in New Jersey down to Salem County, bottom part of New Jersey. We also hit the shore points. But at the same time, in Pennsylvania, think of Philadelphia and all surrounding counties up into Berks County. So we are out there, and we really have a pulse as to what's going on with the real estate community and the buying and selling of real estate. So I'm really blessed and enjoy what I do for a living. But if you need us, 215-295-2030 in New Jersey, 609-882-5188. Let's try it again, 609-882-5188. And if you're up in that Sellersville area, 610-346-7880. So jumping into the email box, last week I mentioned about a young lady, and her name is Gwen from Habro. And she goes, Jack, I spoke to Kevin from BrainFlushGear.com and made arrangements for a special sweatshirt concept for our annual family gathering for the holidays. It's been quite a few years since we had our grandparents, relatives, and kids under one roof. So that's pretty cool. And I'm not sure what the concept is, but I'm sure that working with Kevin is going to be something that's going to be unique and that they can wear for years to come. So thank you, Gwen. If you'd like, please reach out to my sponsors. Once again, they're professional, they're cordial, and they know their stuff. For me, you can email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com or visit the website, which is thehousewhisperershow.com. And like Barry always mentions, you can always podcast me at any time at www.dbam.com. So let's jump into the box. Sam from last week, from the Great Northeast, had a question about what we call prefabricated fireplaces. So here we go. First off, the do's and don'ts. Number one, don't overstuff these fireplaces like the pre-Eagles game bonfire, because they're not designed for that. As I tell my clients during a home inspection, I tell my clients to keep them reasonable or romantic. They're designed more for a gas or propane log than really for firewood. So if you're going to put firewood in it, if you put your thumb and your middle finger together and create a circle, that's about how big the log should be, and typically no more than 3. And the reason I say that is look at the grate. If you have one of these prefab units, it's small. It's not designed to hold a lot of wood. And we do try to stay away from what we call the creosote logs, and those are those things that you buy at the grocery store, and they make pretty colors, but they are fairly waxy, and they can gum up your flute liner. So you do have to clean these metal flues a little bit more often. A simple parable: if you burn 2 to 3 times a week, clean it at least 2 times a year by a mason. Okay, I like masons. Chimney sweeps. I always think of Mary Poppins and the guy dancing around the chimney brush, but it's not that guy. Okay. Always keep in mind that the rear walls are ceramic and can crack fairly easily under an intense fire. So if yours is starting to chip away or have a hairline crack, replace it. Okay, they're designed to be replaced. If you have a non-venting unit, which means no chimney at all, and I have actually one of those in my office, I keep a carbon monoxide detector close by. Okay, and so one that you plug into the wall, not one that has a battery that you keep on the ceiling. They're two different animals. The batteries and it has a battery, okay, still last between 2 and 3 years. So it's something that can save your life. You can put a TV above these fireplaces because they don't give off a lot of heat. And you notice how I'm saying this carefully, because I don't want you to put one up tomorrow and the diodes burn out because of the intense bonfire that you're putting in your fireplace. So if you're doing gas logs or propane logs, hey, hang the TV, okay? But if you're going to burn wood, I don't suggest it at all. One thing you might want to consider is a blower option. If you open up the bottom latch and this door folds down, if you have a receptacle in the bottom right corner, you can get a squirrel cage type of fan, which will definitely expel a lot more heat than if you just had the heat of the fire itself. It's about a $200 option. It's also thermostatically controlled. So if you're getting blasted out by your new blower option, you can turn it down or turn it off. Also, what I find that I find lacking are good doors. A lot of times when you buy these units, it only comes with a screen. And as you might be aware, and if you're not, fireplaces take out more heat than they give back to you. So you want to keep the flame contained, keep the blower option. But, of course, the doors do a few more things, too. One, I think, a child's safety, because then, little hands can't get hurt. And two, they keep the embers from popping out onto your combustible rug. So, think of a hearth. A lot of times these prefab units have a very small hearth, sometimes 6 inches, 8 inches, but they're really supposed to be 18 inches. So if you have an undersized hearth, you may want to get something that's non-combustible, like a piece of slate or marble. Travertine, beautiful Italian marble that you can put down in front of the fireplace and keep your house from burning down. It sounds stupid, but it's so true. Let the fire die completely overnight before throwing the ash in a trash can. I can't tell you how many times I've heard about houses burning down because the embers are still hot, even though you think they're dead. You throw them in your trash can, they get refueled up from all the your normal everyday trash. And if you live in a townhome, you're not only going to burn down your house, but you could be burning down a couple neighbors to your left and right. So I had the practice of waiting until the next morning to clean out my firebox. Also, fresh air makeup. A lot of our prefab units have a little damper on the side so that you can open that, which will help assist with the flame and hopefully take a little bit less out of your home. So you take advantage of that. Bring the wood to the house. Don't keep any firewood that in the home that you don't plan on burning, because at this time of year, the insects will thrive the heat. Sam, I hope that gives you a little bit of information, and if you have any questions, again, get back to me and I'll help you through it. My next question is from Lori from Quakertown. Let's see. She said, Jack, I went through the archives on thehousewhispershow.com and listened to the show on generators. Up here, we do have a tendency to lose power, and I don't know if we should get a whole house generator or a portable. What do you think? And my answer is, Lori, there's a few things that come to mind. Since we all lost power in Hurricane Sandy last year for almost 2 weeks, I think generators in themselves have become more popular. So it really comes down to a few things that you have to consider. Number one is cost. Now, a good portable generator should run between $1,500 to $2,500, and that will run anywhere from 8 to 12 what we call kW, which is a measure of electricity. Now, that may only do a certain percentage of your home, or if you want to spend between $8,000 to $12,000 for a complete generator, that can run everything in your home.
I'll tell you what, we have to take a break, Jack. Can we pick up on the generators right after the break?
Absolutely, Barry. Be happy to.
Okay. Well, $12,000 is cheaper to go into to a hotel for a few days. But a lot of people in my neighborhood have them. They bought them after Sandy, and they're glad they have them just in case. You're listening to the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860. Jack Milne is the House Whisperer, and those of you who are interested in generators, well, he just began, but there's more to tell to the story, and we'll pick it up right after this.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today, and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now
Okay, we're back with Jack Milne on the House Whisperer Show. And before the break, Jack, you were talking about generators, and that's an important topic. A lot of people are getting them, and your advice is very important. So you're back on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. Generators, you have to make either a personal or business decision how much you want to cover in case of power outage. Some people just need the absolute basics, maybe the kitchen lights, air conditioning, believe it or not, the refrigerator, the sump pump, the well pump, the on-site sewage pump. So you have to really think about what you want to operate in case the lights go out. Now, before the break, I quoted anywhere between $8,000 to $12,000. I think $12,000 would be a home that's probably over 4,000 square feet. But imagine if you could do your whole house. Now, I put a generator in last year, and it's what we call a 17 kW, and it does not only my house but my garage. And within 7 to 10 seconds of a power outage, I'm fully 100% up and running.
Wow. You are really prepared.
I'm ready to go. and the sad part, and the reason why I went that way, Barry, is because here I'm a small businessman trying to run a business with my cell phone and a candle in my kitchen. So if I need to run my business, I need to try to be as close as I can to normal operating procedures. But it was very difficult during that time for a lot of people. And what we also found is that with portable generators, a lot of the gas stations where you had to go get gas didn't have backup generators. So people were in this like mayhem trying to get 5 gallons of gas or a couple containers of 5 gallons of gas so they could keep their generators running, because a standard portable generator holds anywhere from 5 to 8 gallons of gas, and they go through about a gallon an hour. Okay, so think of that. If you have to fill up that generator every 5 to 8 hours and you can't get gas, where are you going to go? I know one of my inspectors had a portable generator who lives up around Bethlehem, and he ended up going to his parents' house in Pennington, New Jersey, to find a gas station. How do we want to run our generators? If we want to go to a full house generator, we only have 2 choices. One is natural gas, and the other is propane. Now, with my home, I use natural gas for everything, just because I know I can save a fortune over the cost of electricity. But if I wanted to fuel up my generator with natural gas, I had to run a new 1-inch line from the curb to my house to the tune of about $4,000. I decided to go with 2 100-gallon propane bottles that would allow my house to run for 10 days without any interruption. So, if you're thinking a whole house generator and you don't have natural gas, propane is a very good second option. So, Lori, if you have any other questions or you need a good mechanic who installs generators, I would ask that you reach out to Glenn Aust at GA Electric, and he's up in your area, 267-980-6406. He's probably installing a generator probably once a week at this point of the year. But keep in mind, folks, for any of you that do have a whole house generator, you still have to service it once a year. You got to change the spark plug and you got to change the oil. Ben from Ardmore. Jack, when I was cleaning my gutters, I'm noticing a lot of stone granules in my gutter. I know with cold weather it's not a good idea to replace the roof, but what do you think? And honestly, Ben, depending on the condition of the roof surface itself, granular loss is expected. But if you start to see the exposure of the roof felts themselves, it's time for replacement now. So keep in mind, shingles can be replaced at all times of the year. Ben, I'm going to ask that you keep in mind the following thoughts. Number one layer of roofing at a time. Both Pennsylvania and New Jersey allow what we call roof overs. In other words, 2 layers of shingles at one time. But honestly, it's really not recommended due to weight. And a lot of our homes today are engineered and not really designed for 2 layers of shingles plus a 3-foot snow load. But I think it's important to visit your roof sheathing every 20 to 25 years and replace it when necessary. Secondly, a good roofing contractor can remove and replace approximately what we call 25 square of roofing material a day. So most of our homes, if you're 2,500 square feet, you have roughly 25 square shingles. So if your house is 1,500 square feet, maybe 15 square of shingles. So a lot of times they can strip off your roof in the morning and have you done by the afternoon. Granted, you'll be the noisiest house in the neighborhood as they show up at 7 o'clock, but hey, after they're done, you're good for another 25 years, so you can't beat it. Also, keep in mind that a roofing contractor will not replace what they can't protect with tarps. So they usually start in the front and they move to the back. Those of you who have steeper roofs or what we call hip roofs that have triangles and trapezoids, you do have a lot more waste. So the roofing may take a little bit longer, plus you're going to pay a little bit more because of the pitch. I would ask that you stay away from what we call the 3-tab shingle. Those are the older style 12-inch shingles, as now they actually cost more than a dimensional shingle. And when I tell that to my clients, they look at me and they kind of cock their heads and say, why? And it really comes down to supply and demand. No one wants that kind of shingle anymore, so they're not making it. If they're not making it but you really want it, they'll make it, but they're going to charge you for it. And finally, winter installations tend to be cheaper than springtime. And shingle costs will also rise in the spring. Keep in mind, too, shingles are not cheap anymore because they're still a derivative of oil. So, for my dimensional roof, I was paying close to $90 a square. So they're not going down. So finally, get referrals. If you had a neighbor who had a roof on and they were happy, usually neighborhoods go in bunches. So if your roof needs to be replaced because the other 3 neighbors have already replaced theirs, you may want to reach out to them, Ben, and have a discussion as to the quality of the mechanic, plus what guarantees and warranties are offered. Next question, Steve from New Hope. Jack, I have an 80-gallon electric water heater, and I don't know its age, but we got about 10 minutes of hot water, and then it goes cold. What's up? Well, answer for that one, Ben, is it's time for a new water heater. There's a tube inside a water heater called the dip tube. And as you put cold water into a water heater, it doesn't go to the top of the tank, but it goes down to the bottom of the tank. And at the bottom of an electric water heater, you have an element. And that element's the workhorse. That's the one that gives about 80% of the boost to make that cold water hot. And as the hot water migrates up to the top of the tank, well, then it hits the second electric element, and that's what gives it the final oomph before it goes out to your faucet. So chances are the dip tube's probably broken, or the electric element is bad. So my thought is this. You can't replace the dip tube, but you can replace an element. So if you want to start fairly cheap, about $35 to $40 per element. If that doesn't work, then replace the tank. And for the replacement, I always tell my clients to figure 20 gallons per day per person. So I would keep an 80-gallon storage tank if your house has 2.5 bathrooms or if you have 4 people. If you have to go to a gas water heater or a propane-fed water heater, you can cut those numbers in half. So if you have gas, my listeners, you can get away with a 40-gallon gas water heater, which will give you the same equivalent of an 80-gallon water heater. But another point is figure out where your life is going to take you over the next 12 to 15 years. So if you just moved into a home and it's just you and your bride, but you're planning on having 2 kids, well, you don't want to plan for a 50-gallon water heater, which would be good for a family of maybe 2 to 3. You want to plan for that 80-gallon tank so that you have enough so you're not overusing a smaller tank. Because one, it's going to cost you a lot more to operate the tank with those elements keeping fired up. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to be the second person in the shower because whoever it is, they lose.
Cold shower, Jack. We are out of time on the subject of cold showers. We'll have to pick that up somewhere. I've had a few of them myself.
Well, before I head out, Barry, one more point is I want you to budget between $800 to $900 for an 80-gallon water heater. Make sure that your mechanic lifts it up off the floor because when it's lifted, instead of 8 to 10 years, you get 12 to 15 years. And make sure your pressure relief valve is extended. And an expansion tank may have to be installed as per local code. So if you didn't have one before, you may need one, Steve, after they're done with the plumbing. So next week, I was actually hoping to have Jim McKissick, professional appraiser, on this week, but his schedule and mine conflicted, so we're going to make sure we get him on the air next week talking about professional appraisers and what it means to our listeners.
Sounds good to me. Hey, Jack, always great having you on the air.
Well, thank you. And as always, folks, please spend time with friends and family. It's Sunday. Smile often. And I look forward to seeing you next week on The House Whisperer.
All right, and tune in again next week for another edition of The House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. Now, if you want to listen to previous programs or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. La, 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 la.